This is Newcap News with Lauren Poland.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A Saskatchewan man convicted of killing 2 Mounties has filed documents for his appeal. The 2 constables were shot and killed on a country road near Spiritwood in July of 2006 after a high-speed chase. The Crown prosecutor says he received the documents Monday, but doesn't know how long it will take to draft a response. Curtis Desjardins filed an appeal of his convictions and life sentence shortly after a jury found him guilty in 2009 of 2 counts of first-degree murder. Desjardins testified that the officers fired at him first and he shot back in self-defense. His appeal says the trial judge gave the jury bad advice on the self-defense aspect. It's being called the worst case of child pornography in Saskatchewan's history. 21-year-old Shane Pattison from Marshall has pleaded guilty to 53 charges related to child porn. We warn you, the following story is very disturbing and may be hard for some viewers to hear. The Crown prosecution has laid out his case against Pattison with evidence including multiple pictures and videos of child pornography. 2 manuals guiding predators on how and where to find children, how to approach single mothers and take on babysitting jobs were also seized.
The case as a whole is by far the worst case that I've seen in a decade of prosecuting these types of offenses. He was attempting to impregnate his girlfriend to have a child that he could then use for a sex toy.
Pattison and his girlfriend did end up having a child who is now 7 months old, and he is still in regular contact with his girlfriend but can't be unsupervised around the child. From files seized from Pattison's computer, 2 children in Georgia have been rescued from child predators. The case has been adjourned until June 15th. The defense will then plead its case, followed by sentencing. Pattison could be spending life in prison, with each of the 53 charges facing a maximum penalty of a decade behind bars. RCMP have arrested 3 women after a mugging in Lloydminster Sunday afternoon. A woman was walking down 53rd Avenue when she was attacked by 3 other women who demanded she turned over her iPod. The suspects then grabbed the victim and assaulted her before fleeing on foot. RCMP have arrested 22-year-old Cassandra Chief, 26-year-old Tessie Nanakwawatang, and 33-year-old Rayanne Little Wolf. All were slapped with robbery charges. Little Wolf will appear in court May 8th, while the other 2 suspects have already pleaded guilty. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Lloydminster RCMP or Crime Stoppers. Well, when you think about hairstyling, you think of haircuts, color jobs, and of course, different styles. But a couple of students in the Lakeland think it's somewhat of a sport. As Clayton Brown explains, 2 students from St. Paul are heading to provincials to show off their skills with scissors.
Jackie Brousseau and Leah Lavalley have taken an interest in hairstyling, and it's beginning to pay off. Both girls are taking their talents to the provincial level after winning a regional skills competition.
I just like doing things with my hands. I like making other people look pretty, I suppose. I don't know, I just love it.
I automatically got nervous for provincials because provincials, it's more intense, it's a different level. And I was mostly just really happy.
Competitors are judged on the placement, lines, and overall look of the style, and it all has to be done within an hour and a half, which means practice, practice, practice.
Leah would come after school because she is not in Cosmo this semester. So she'd come after school and spend an hour and a half probably every night, maybe 2 hours.
We practiced with the pressure and the times at school. So we already knew in our heads that we could do it under an hour and a half.
For Leah, this will be her 2nd trip to provincials, and although she already has an idea of what to expect, she says it will still be nerve-wracking.
I don't know what the other competitors have in themselves to perform and how they'll perform. So I'm kind of nervous about that, but I think I'll do all right.
Provincials kick off May 10th. In St. Paul, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
1,800 high school students made their way to the Lloyd X grounds for the 3rd annual Try a Trade Expo. Kelsey Blackson brings us a story.
The expo offers teens a chance to get a feel for what the trade industry in Alberta and Saskatchewan is all about.
We know that in Alberta and Saskatchewan there is a shortage of trades. Alberta and Saskatchewan have the fastest growing economies in North America right now, and the trades are absolutely vital.
And that shortage has led to great opportunities for students looking for work.
Last year, I personally know of 5 students who got summer jobs by simply coming to here and handing their resume to one of these companies, and their company's hiring them.
But it's not only about handing over resumes. The expo is interactive and hands-on, with tons of opportunities for students to test out the various jobs.
It wasn't bad. I'm used to running like machines like that with the hydraulics and stuff, so once you get the feel of it, you can get it going pretty good.
And with just over a year left until graduation, the event was a chance to figure out his future path.
It's a school thing, so it got me out of school for one, and I also want to get to know the trades a little bit better, know what I want to do when I get older.
51 designated trades from 7 industries were featured at the expo. Kelsey Bloxham, Newcap News.
And ahead of today's expo was a career fair last night for adults and teens unable to make the Try-A-Trade event. 75 booths were set up by local businesses looking for workers.
Well, what we're trying to do is just promote the trades as an option of a career, just to show them that you can go in and become a tradesperson. You can become an owner of that trade company, so there's lots of opportunities.
This was the 3rd annual fair with a wide range of trades represented.
So we have Lakeland College that is of course a trade school, and we had a fair number of trades being represented by them as well as employers around town.
And while people weren't able to try out the various trades like at the expo, resumes were being accepted by many of the companies. And one of Canada's most famous handymen was in town for Try-A-Trade as well. I got the chance to talk with the man of many reno shows, HGTV's Brian Baumler.
What is there? House of Brian, Leave It to Brian, Disaster DIY, Canada's Handyman Challenge, Deck Wars, HGTV in the U.S. as well. Did some Utah filming.
Are your favorite ones the ones with your name in it?
Yeah, I mean, of course they are. They're the ones that rate the best, so I don't know why. No, it's timing. It's timing. I don't know.
And what are some tips that you have for first-time people trying home renovations? What are the simple things that they can do to ensure that they get it done right?
Well, I mean, before you start anything, you really have to assess your skills and how much time you have and whether you're going to actually enjoy it and complete it. Those are the most important things. If you decide that you're not ready to do it yourself, then you have to hire someone. You have to ask the right questions. And personally, I think the best contractor to hire is someone that comes in, and when they leave, you don't have any questions. They're the expert. They should come in, ask the questions of you, give you the information before you really need it. But you also want to look at how much money to spend on what areas of your home, what's really going to be valuable at the end of the day, what the market demands, what you can afford to do. So there's so many factors.
So one of the biggest things is not biting off more than you can chew?
Yes, don't. It is very easy to choke on drywall and 2x4s, believe me.
I believe it. And what are some of the classic mistakes that people do make aside from what we just went over?
A lot of times, I mean, there's statistics out there that 75% of us want to renovate in the next 12 months, and everyone wants to do that to increase the value of the property. If you do something yourself and it's not finished to a professional level, that removes value from your home.
Help.
No, it doesn't help. And a lot of people go backwards. Or they get too many things started and not completed, and all of a sudden they have a giant pile of work to do. And that's their biggest asset. So protect your asset. That's your nest egg. Treat it like your nest egg.
You said you've possibly driven through Lloydminster, but haven't really spent any time in the border city. What do you think?
It's great. I got a coffee in Alberta. I'm hanging out in Saskatchewan in the same day. I'm gonna go get another coffee in Alberta in a few minutes. You know what? It's a great spot. It's more thriving than I thought. You can tell that it's a boomtown. There's an energy here. It's a nice spot. I will be back.
We hope so.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Thank you very much for sharing some of your time with us, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Peter joins us now with our first look at weather, and I'm just happy we didn't see any rain.
Yeah, me too. But areas to the south of us sure did. They've had millimeters upon millimeters in Calgary and in Lethbridge, but we luckily have stayed out of it. We've had mostly cloudy skies for most of the day, and we still do right now. As we take a look outside, you can see we are sitting at 10 degrees in the border city with those winds. They've switched around to be from the southeast. Yesterday at this time they were from the northeast, which is why we got a little bit warmer today. We hit a high of 12, and around the region 13 degrees still in the Lakeland with lots of sunny skies, and cloud cover in the Battlefords currently sitting at 11 degrees. We will have all your weather details in just a few minutes.
Service with a smile with special guests at McHappy Day. That story after the break.